You know what's exhausting? Wasting your time, your energy, and your peace of mind on things that don't actually matter. We do it every single day, caring too much about what people think, stressing over things we can't control, getting stuck in drama that's not even ours. And while we're busy worrying about the wrong things, the things that do matter, our dreams, our happiness, our purpose, get shoved to the side. That ends today. Because in the next few minutes, I'm giving you 4 rules, simple, powerful, no BS rules that will help you focus on what actually moves the needle in your life and let go of the nonsense that's been holding you back. These rules aren't just about not caring, they're about caring better, about learning how to protect your energy, prioritize your future, and give your attention to what truly deserves it. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed, distracted, or frustrated by things that don't serve you, this is your wake-up call. Let's get into it. There's a lot in life that you can't control, but the problem is that most people spend their time obsessing over exactly those things. We stress about what others think, worry about how situations will unfold, and get frustrated when things don't go our way. The truth? None of that is in your hands. The opinions of others, the past, the unexpected changes, those are out of your control. And when you spend your energy fighting against what you can't change, you end up feeling stuck, drained, and powerless. The key is to flip that mindset. Instead of worrying about what's beyond your control, focus on what is in your hands, your actions, your mindset, your respect. Your natural instinct might be to react emotionally. You complain, you vent, you dwell on it. But what if instead you trained yourself to pause and ask one simple question: what can I control in this situation? If you're in traffic, you can't move the cars, but you can decide to use the time to listen to an audiobook or a podcast that adds value to your life. If someone criticizes you unfairly, you can't stop them from having an opinion, but you can choose whether to take it personally or move on. If you face a setback in your career, you can't rewrite the past, but you can focus on the next step forward. Every situation has 2 elements, the part you control and the part you don't. The moment you start shifting your focus to the part you can influence, everything changes. One of the biggest energy drainers in life is trying to control other people. We do it all the time without realizing it. Trying to make someone see things our way, hoping they'll change, wishing they'd act differently. But people don't change just because we want them to. They change when they decide to. So instead of wasting energy trying to control others, redirect that energy into yourself. How you react, how you communicate, how you choose to show up, that's where your influence is strongest. If someone in your life is negative, you can't force them to be positive, but you can decide how much access they have to your energy. If someone is toxic, you don't have to fix them, but you can set boundaries to protect yourself. You are not responsible for other people's choices, but you are 100% responsible for how you allow those choices to affect you. This mindset shift isn't just about reducing stress, it's about taking back your power. When you focus on what you can control, you start feeling less like a victim of circumstances and more like the creator of your own life. You stop waiting for things to change and start making changes yourself. Instead of blaming external factors, you take ownership of your choices. And that's when real progress happens. Think about the most successful, resilient people you know. They don't waste time complaining about things they can't change. They don't let setbacks define them. They focus on what's in their control, developing their skills, improving their habits, making better decisions. That's why they keep moving forward while others stay stuck. It's not about having an easy life, it's about having the right mindset. At the end of the day, life is unpredictable. Things will go wrong, people will disappoint you. Unexpected challenges will come up. But if you can train yourself to always ask, what do I have control over in this moment? You'll never feel powerless again. You'll realize that no matter what happens, you always have a choice. And those choices, they shape your future. We live in a world where opinions are everywhere. Whether it's social media, family, friends, or even random strangers, everyone has something to say about how you should live your life. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself drowning in an ocean of other people's expectations, judgments, and unsolicited advice. The problem isn't that people have opinions, they always will. The real problem is when you let those opinions dictate your decisions, your self-worth, and your ability to move forward. The truth is, most people care far too much about what others think. It starts early in life. We learn to seek approval, to fit in, to avoid judgment. And while some level of social awareness is natural, there comes a point where it turns into a prison. You hesitate to take risks because you're afraid of what people will say. You hold back on expressing your true self because you don't want to be judged. You measure your success based on how many likes, comments, or nods of approval you get from others. But here's the harsh reality. No matter what you do, people will always have opinions and you will never please everyone. So why waste your energy trying? One of the most powerful things you can do is stop seeking validation from the outside world and start trusting yourself. Your dreams, your goals, your values, those belong to you, not to the crowd. If you base your decisions on what other people expect, you'll end up living their version of success, not yours. And nothing feels emptier than reaching a point in life where you've checked all the boxes, got the job, the house, the approval, but still feel unfulfilled because it was never what you truly wanted in the first place. Think about how much time you spend worrying about how you're perceived. What if they don't like my idea? Or what if they think I'm weird? What if they judge me? But here's the kicker. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to obsess over you. The things you stress over, how you looked in a meeting, what you said in a conversation, whether you sounded smart enough, are things that others barely notice because they're caught up in their own worries. And even when people do judge, it says more about them than it does about you. People project their own insecurities, limitations, and fears onto others. Someone who's afraid to take risks will tell you that your goals are unrealistic. Someone who's never chased their dreams will say you're being foolish for chasing yours. Their opinions aren't a reflection of your potential, they're a reflection of their mindset. The biggest shift you can make is learning to differentiate between the opinions that matter and the ones that don't. Not all feedback is bad. Constructive criticism from mentors, close friends, or people who genuinely care about your growth can be valuable. But mindless opinions from people who don't understand your vision, those are distractions. You wouldn't take financial advice from someone who's broke, so why take life advice from people who aren't where you want to be? The moment you stop letting random opinions shape your path, you gain an incredible sense of freedom. Letting go of external validation doesn't mean becoming arrogant or ignoring everyone. It means developing the confidence to make choices based on your values rather than someone else's approval. It means understanding that your worth isn't defined by whether people agree with you. It means realizing that success isn't measured by applause, but by personal fulfillment. The most successful and fulfilled people in the world didn't get there by playing it safe and trying to be liked by everyone. They got there by trusting their instincts, staying true to their purpose, and blocking out the noise. At the end of the day, people will talk no matter what. If you take risks, they'll have something to say. If you play it safe, they'll still have something to say. Since you can't control their opinions, the only logical choice is to stop letting them control you. The moment you stop basing your self-worth on what others think, you step into a whole new level of confidence, clarity, and peace, and that's when you start truly living, not for them, but for yourself. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in pressure to meet expectations, to keep up, to prove yourself. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with messages about what we should be doing. Hustle harder, be more productive, follow the traditional path, do what's expected. But here's the problem. If you let external pressure dictate your choices, you'll end up chasing things that don't actually matter to you. You'll spend your time living up to someone else's definition of success instead of creating your own. And nothing is more exhausting than chasing a life that doesn't fulfill you. Purpose and pressure are two completely different forces. Purpose comes from within. It's about what drives you, what excites you, what makes you feel alive. Pressure, on the other hand, comes from outside. It's the weight of expectations, the fear of judgment, the constant need to measure up. The problem is that most people confuse the two. They think that just because something is hard, it must be important. That just because everyone else is doing something, they should too. But when you make decisions based on pressure instead of purpose, you lose sight of what truly matters. Think about how often people go down a path simply because they feel like they have to. They take a job they don't love because it looks good on paper. They pursue a goal that doesn't excite them because it's what society expects. They stay in situations that drain them because they don't want to disappoint others. But what happens when you live this way? You burn out. You wake up one day wondering why, despite doing everything right, you still feel unfulfilled. And that's because pressure doesn't lead to passion, it leads to exhaustion. Purpose, on the other hand, fuels you. When you're aligned with what actually matters to you, you don't need external motivation, you naturally feel driven? One of the biggest challenges is learning to distinguish between what you want and what you've been conditioned to want. So many of the goals people chase aren't even their own. They're inherited from society, family, or peer expectations. The degree, the job, the lifestyle, the timeline for success, it's all shaped by outside influences. But here's the truth. No one else is living your life. No one else will feel the weight of your choices the way you will. That means no one else has the right to dictate what your path should look like. The only person who has to be at peace with your decisions is you. Breaking free from pressure doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities or avoiding challenges. It means redefining success on your terms. It means shifting from what am I supposed to do to what actually fulfills me. It means having the courage to say no to things that look good on the surface but don't align with your deeper purpose. And yes, that's hard. It's hard to walk away from a path that's safe but unfulfilling. It's hard to go against the grain when everyone else is following a different script. But what's harder is spending years of your life climbing a ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. One of the most freeing things you can do is let go of the need to prove yourself to others. When you operate from purpose instead of pressure, your decisions aren't driven by fear or external validation. You don't feel the need to constantly prove your worth because you already know it. You stop making choices just to impress people who aren't even paying attention. And most importantly, you stop postponing the things that actually matter to you. Because the truth is, someday is not a guarantee. You don't have forever to live your dream, to pursue what excites you, to create a life that actually feels good to wake up to. If you keep waiting until it's convenient or socially acceptable, you'll wake up one day realizing you waited too long. At the end of the day, you have two choices: live under pressure or live with purpose. One keeps you stuck in a cycle of proving, performing, and pleasing. The other gives you the freedom to build a life that's truly yours. And when you choose purpose over pressure, you don't just exist, you actually start living. Energy is one of the most valuable things you have, yet most people give it away without a second thought. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy. How you use it determines everything: your productivity, your happiness, your ability to achieve your goals. But here's the problem. Most people spend their energy on things that drain them instead of things that move them forward. They get caught up in negativity, toxic relationships, pointless arguments, and distractions that serve no real purpose. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted, unmotivated, and stuck. The truth is, if you don't protect your energy, the world will drain it from you. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that their energy is unlimited. They say yes to everything, give their time to everyone, and allow themselves to be pulled in 100 different directions. But energy isn't infinite. Every time you engage with negativity, every time you let stress take over, every time you focus on things that don't matter, you're spending energy that you could be using to build the life you want. And once that energy is gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. That's why you have to start treating your energy like it's gold, because it is. Think about the people in your life. Some people lift you up, make you feel inspired, and push you to be better. Others drain you with their negativity, drama, and constant complaints. Every interaction you have either adds to your energy or takes from it, yet so many people allow toxic relationships to take up space in their lives simply because they feel obligated. They tolerate energy drainers because they don't want to upset anyone. But the hard truth is this: if you surround yourself with people who drain your energy, you will never have enough left to focus on your own growth. You have to start setting boundaries, not just to protect yourself, but to protect your future. It's not just people that drain energy, it's also the habits and distractions you allow into your daily routine. Social media, for example, is one of the biggest energy vampires in today's world. You scroll endlessly, consuming information, opinions, and negativity that you didn't ask for. You compare yourself to other people's highlight reels. You waste mental space on things that have nothing to do with your actual goals. And before you know it, you've spent hours feeding your mind with content that adds zero value to your life. If you want to take back control, you have to be intentional about where your attention goes. Stop mindlessly consuming and start consciously creating. Or stop letting distractions steal your focus and start using that energy to build something new. Another major energy drain is stress, especially stress over things you can't control. So many people waste their mental and emotional energy worrying about things that may never happen, or stressing over situations that are completely out of their hands. But the problem is, worry doesn't change anything. It just takes your energy away from the things you can change. If you want to protect your energy, you have to get better at letting go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the habit of overthinking. Let go of the idea that you have to respond to every negative situation that comes your way. Not everything requires your reaction. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your energy is to walk away and move on. One of the most powerful ways to protect your energy is to be intentional about how you start and end your day. The way you spend your morning sets the tone for the rest of your day, and the way you wind down at night determines how well you recharge for the next one. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, dive into emails, or scroll through negativity, you're already starting your day on someone else's terms. Instead, create a morning routine that fuels you, whether that's reading, journaling, exercising, or just taking a few moments to breathe and set your intentions. The same goes for the end of the day. Instead of falling asleep to the noise of social media or TV, create a habit that helps you wind down and reset your mind for the next day. When you protect these moments, you're not just protecting your time, you're protecting your energy. At the end of the day, your energy is your responsibility. If you don't protect it, no one else will. You have to become intentional about where it goes, who gets access to it, and how you replenish it. Because the more you guard your energy, the more you have to invest in what truly matters.